They told you being alone was punishment. They lied. What if the very thing you've been running from, the isolation, the empty rooms, the silence that follows you like a shadow, isn't something to fear, but the very space where your strength is forged? In solitude, you're forced to confront yourself. You stop hiding behind the noise of the world and begin listening to your own mind. This is where growth begins, in the quiet. The Stoics understood this well. They knew that solitude strips away distraction and reveals who you truly are. It isn't something to escape. It's the space where you begin shaping the strongest version of yourself. You've heard it your whole life. Loneliness is bad. It's something to avoid. But stop for a moment and ask yourself, why? Why has society conditioned us to believe that to be alone is to be lacking? Could it be that the very idea of isolation has been weaponized to keep us tethered to external validation, to keep us from understanding something deeper within ourselves? We've been trained to fear solitude, to see it as an emptiness to fill with distractions. But what if, instead of a void, it's a space to grow? What if it's in this very solitude that we truly come alive, not by seeking approval or avoiding discomfort, but by embracing it and seeing it as an opportunity for transformation? Consider this: when you are alone, truly alone, without the distractions of the world, something changes. The noise of the crowd quiets, and you're left with nothing but your own thoughts. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, perhaps even frightening. But that discomfort is the spark, the forge in which your true strength is shaped. It's in the quiet where you meet yourself, not the version of you that is defined by what others think, but the one you've buried under layers of influence. In solitude, the distractions of everyday life fall away, leaving only what is real. The self you've been running from, the self you've neglected, has no choice but to show up. This confrontation, though painful at times, is where growth begins. And it's in these moments, when you face yourself and your thoughts without interference, that you begin to build the foundation for a stronger, more authentic life. Think about it. Every time you experience true solitude, it's as though you're stripping away the excess, the clutter, the false identities you've created to fit in. You no longer rely on external forces to define you. You start to understand that your worth doesn't come from the approval of others, nor does it depend on constant validation. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Solitude gives you the space to reshape your thoughts, to mold them into something that aligns with your true self. It's no longer about measuring up to others' expectations. It's about stepping into your own power, realizing that the only person you need to answer to is yourself. The truth is, society doesn't want you to realize how powerful solitude can be. It thrives on keeping you connected, on making you feel like you need constant validation to survive. Think about the endless distractions we are offered: social media, consumerism, the constant barrage of opinions from others. All of it designed to keep you from looking inward, from spending time alone with your thoughts. But when you learn to sit in silence, without any need for approval, you begin to see life through a different lens. You stop living for the likes, the comments, the external praise, and you start living for the only person whose opinion truly matters, yourself. And once you realize this, you can never go back. The fear of being alone loses its power, and what was once seen as a weakness becomes a wellspring of strength. If this perspective resonates with you, if you're learning to turn solitude into strength, subscribe, not just to follow a channel, but to strengthen the mindset that helps you grow even when the world grows quiet. Being alone isn't about disconnecting from the world or withdrawing from others out of fear. It's about reclaiming your power, finding your voice in the silence. As Carl Jung so wisely stated, loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that are important to you. The noise of the world often drowns out what really matters: our inner voice, our deepest desires, our truest selves. But in solitude, we can hear that voice clearly. It's in the silence that we stop searching for answers in others and begin to find them within. In a world that constantly pressures us to belong, to connect, to conform, embracing solitude becomes an act of rebellion. It's a way of saying, I don't need to be part of the crowd to be complete. It's the realization that you are enough, exactly as you are, and that your worth doesn't depend on the approval of others. As Epictetus reminded us, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. In solitude, you are free from the need to please, free from the expectations of others, and in this freedom, you discover a new sense of purpose and direction. The world can continue to chase its endless distractions, but you, in your solitude, have found something far more valuable, your own peace, your own truth. The power of being alone isn't just about being free from others. It's about rediscovering your strength and your potential. Think of the greatest thinkers, the visionaries who shaped the course of history. They didn't wait for approval from the masses. They found their clarity, their insights, in moments of solitude. They embraced the quiet not as a punishment, but as a chance to create, to reflect, to transform their understanding of the world. Your mind is the same. Left to its own devices, it can create masterpieces, solve problems, and uncover truths that were hidden beneath the noise of everyday life. So, when the feeling of loneliness creeps in, remember that it's not a punishment. It's a privilege, a space where you can rediscover yourself, untainted by the judgments and expectations of others. It's in the stillness that you have the power to find peace, to build a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. The question is, will you allow the discomfort to guide you to growth, or will you run from it, letting the noise drown out the most important voice, the one inside your head, the one that has been waiting for you to listen? When you're truly alone, you're not missing out on life. You're preparing for it. You're being forged in the fire of solitude, emerging stronger, clearer, and ready to face the world as the person you were always meant to be. Now think about the stories we've been told. Think about the movies, the books, the narratives where the hero is never truly alone. They're surrounded by friends, allies, a support system that propels them forward. We've been trained to see this as the ideal. Everyone needs a sidekick, a mentor, someone to lean on. But in reality, the true transformation happens when the hero steps away from the crowd, when they face the journey alone. It's in that moment of solitude, when the distractions fade, that the real growth begins. This isn't just a story of one emperor. It's the story of every person who has ever made a significant impact. It's the story of the thinkers, the writers, the philosophers, the innovators. They didn't wait for permission to explore the depths of their minds. They didn't wait for someone to give them a reason to think. They took time in solitude to uncover their own truths, and in doing so, they changed the world. You don't have to be surrounded by people to make a difference. In fact, sometimes it's the very act of stepping away from the crowd that allows you to hear your own voice more clearly. Think about the contrast between the noise of the world and the stillness of solitude. In the noise, you're constantly bombarded with other people's opinions, ideas, and expectations. You begin to lose sight of who you are and what you believe in because you're too focused on meeting the needs of others. But in solitude, you reconnect with yourself. You rediscover the parts of you that got buried under the pressure of the outside world. You're able to think freely, without the constant interference of other people's thoughts. And in that space, you begin to create. Not just ideas that echo what others have already said, but ideas that come from your unique perspective. This idea of solitude as a source of power isn't new. The Stoics in particular understood its importance. They didn't shy away from being alone. In fact, they embraced it as a tool for self-growth. Epictetus reminded us that no man is free who is not master of himself. And how can you master yourself if you're constantly surrounded by others, constantly trying to meet their needs or expectations. Mastery comes from understanding who you are at your core, and that requires solitude. It requires time away from the world to reflect, to grow, and to strengthen your mind. When you step away from the noise, when you give yourself the gift of solitude, something remarkable happens. You start to hear your own voice. Not the voice of your parents, your friends, or your society, but your voice, the one that has always been there, waiting to be heard. And once you begin listening to that voice, you realize that it holds the wisdom you've been searching for. You stop seeking approval from others, and instead, you start living in alignment with your own values and beliefs. You become the hero of your own story, the one who isn't defined by the opinions of others, but by the truth you've found in yourself. And the beauty of this is that, like Marcus Aurelius, you don't need to be surrounded by others to find peace. You don't need a group to affirm your worth. Solitude, in its truest sense, is not about isolation. It's about connection to yourself, to your inner world, to the deeper truths that exist beyond the surface of daily life. It's about finding clarity, peace, and purpose, not through the noise, but through the silence. So, if you find yourself alone, if you feel like you're on a journey that others don't understand, remember this: you are not lost. You are in the process of discovering something that many never will. In the silence, in the solitude, you're being shaped into a version of yourself that is stronger, clearer, and more authentic. The noise will always be there, but it is in the quiet that you find the power to rise above it, just as the greatest minds throughout history have done. You see, solitude is not an absence, it is a presence. It is a space where you can cultivate your own thoughts, your own ideas, and your own values. The moment you embrace solitude, you begin to realize something profound. You no longer need external validation to define who you are. You're no longer tethered to the opinions of others. You become self-sufficient, and that self-sufficiency is a form of power that few can ever truly understand. It's not the kind of power that can be taken or given by others. It's an internal strength, one that grows in the quiet spaces, away from the noise and demands of the world. When you stand alone, something shifts inside you. There's a sense of freedom that emerges when you realize that you don't need to rely on anyone else's approval to feel whole. The need to impress, to conform, to gain acceptance, it starts to fade. This doesn't mean cutting yourself off from the world. It means standing firm in who you are, no matter what anyone else thinks. The more you learn to stand alone, the less you care about the fleeting opinions of others. This is not a rejection of the world around you. It's a recognition of your own worth. When you stop seeking validation, you stop performing for others. You stop shaping yourself to fit into molds that were never meant for you. Instead, you start existing authentically, without the need for external confirmation. In today's world, this idea is uncomfortable. We are taught from an early age to seek connection, to chase approval, to belong. From the moment we're born, we're told that we need others to be complete, that without companionship, we are lacking something essential. We grow up seeking friendships, partnerships, social media validation, and a sense of belonging in a world that constantly tells us that to be alone is to be incomplete. Yet, in this constant chase for connection, we often lose sight of who we are and what we stand for. The irony is, the more we seek external validation, the less we understand our own selves. But the truth is, when you stand alone, when you are comfortable with your own company, you become a force that cannot be easily manipulated. You are no longer a puppet to the strings of external opinions or societal expectations. You stop bending to every whim, every trend, and every passing judgment. Instead, you begin to walk your own path, one that is defined by your values, your beliefs, and your authentic self. And in that journey, you create a presence so grounded in truth that others can't help but take notice. You may not need them, but they will want to be near you, drawn to your inner strength and clarity. It's important to understand that this shift doesn't happen overnight. It requires a process of introspection and discomfort. We are creatures of habit, and stepping away from the noise of the world can be a jarring experience. It's easy to surround yourself with people and distractions to fill the emptiness that comes with being alone. But in those moments of discomfort, the seeds of self-discovery are planted. It is through that discomfort that we begin to shed the layers that have been placed on us by others. It is in solitude that we reconnect with what truly matters. We start to hear our own voice again, the voice that has been drowned out by the expectations of others for far too long. Carl Jung understood this well. He believed that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Becoming who you truly are requires space to reflect, to explore, and to grow. It requires stepping away from the noise, from the crowd, and listening to your own inner wisdom. Solitude gives you that space. It allows you to reconnect with your inner self and to understand who you are beneath all the layers that have been built by the outside world. This process of self-discovery is not easy, but it is essential for finding true peace and authenticity. And here's where the power of solitude becomes truly transformative. The more time you spend in your own company, the less you rely on others to define your worth. You begin to see the value in your own thoughts, your own feelings, and your own decisions. You stop asking for permission to be yourself, and instead, you start owning your identity with confidence. This is not arrogance, it's self-respect. When you no longer depend on others to tell you who you are or how you should feel, you gain the freedom to live according to your own principles, not the shifting tides of external approval. As you begin to embrace solitude, something incredible happens. You start to trust yourself more. You begin to see that you are enough, exactly as you are, without needing to prove anything to anyone. This is where real personal power lies. It's not in impressing others or fitting in with the crowd. It's in owning who you are, without apology. And when you own yourself in this way, you stop chasing after things that don't serve you. You stop filling the empty spaces in your life with people or distractions just to avoid the discomfort of being alone. Instead, you start to build a life that reflects your true desires, your true values, and your true purpose. So, what does this all mean for you? It means that solitude is not something to fear. It's something to embrace. The next time you find yourself alone, don't run from it. Don't fill the silence with distractions or noise. Instead, lean into it. Allow the silence to speak to you. Allow the stillness to reveal the parts of yourself that have been hidden away. It's in these moments of solitude that you will find clarity, strength, and self-assurance. You will discover that you are not incomplete in your loneliness. You are complete just as you are. And when you realize that, you will no longer seek validation from the world around you. You will stand firm in your own truth, unaffected by the opinions of others. That is the power of solitude, and it is something that can never be taken away from you. As you step into this space of self-sufficiency, remember that the journey to embracing solitude is a path toward deeper understanding. It's a journey toward becoming who you are truly meant to be, without the noise and distractions of the outside world. The more you learn to stand on your own, the stronger and more resilient you will become. So, embrace solitude, for in that quiet, you will find the power that lies within you, waiting to be unlocked. But the journey to embracing solitude isn't always easy. There's a subtle, insidious fear that comes with being alone. It's the fear of facing our own thoughts, our own vulnerabilities, and our own inner darkness. We're conditioned to believe that solitude equals emptiness, and so, when we're faced with it, we often feel like something is wrong. The silence can feel overwhelming. The absence of noise, of distraction, can expose parts of ourselves we've long avoided. The truth is, it's not the solitude itself that's frightening, it's the confrontation with ourselves. It's the recognition that in the quiet, The things we've been running from, the fears, the insecurities, are no longer hidden. They emerge, front and center, and we're forced to face them. The more you lean into this work, the more you realize that the darkness isn't something to fear, it's something to integrate. These parts of yourself, though difficult to confront, hold valuable lessons. They reveal where you're still carrying pain, where you're still holding on to things that don't serve you, where you still seek validation from the wrong places. When you take the time to reflect, to be truly alone with your thoughts, you can begin to understand the sources of these fears. They're often not as powerful as they first appear. It's only when we avoid them, when we distract ourselves from facing them, that they grow into insurmountable obstacles. But in solitude, they shrink. They lose their hold. Embracing this process, though, doesn't mean that the fears and shadows simply vanish. They never completely disappear. But once you integrate them, once you understand that they are a part of you, not something to be ashamed of, but something to accept, you gain control over them. You stop being at the mercy of your emotions. Instead, you become the master of your own responses, your own actions. The fear no longer paralyzes you. It becomes a tool, a source of wisdom, guiding you toward greater self-awareness. It's not just about understanding yourself intellectually, but about experiencing the change on a deep, emotional level. You can know something with your mind, but it's only when you live it, when you face those uncomfortable truths in the silence, that you truly change. This process is ongoing. It's not something you can finish in a week or a month. It's a lifelong journey. But with each step, with each confrontation, you get closer to the person you were always meant to be, a person who is at peace with their own darkness and, by extension, at peace with the world. You begin to see that solitude isn't something to avoid. It's the very thing that allows you to step into your power. It's in solitude that you find the courage to be yourself, fully and without apology. The more you confront your shadows, the more you realize that you have the strength to navigate any challenge life throws at you. You are no longer dependent on external validation, because you have already validated yourself through the process of inner discovery. The external world becomes less important. What matters most is your relationship with yourself, your ability to be at peace with who you are, and your unwavering confidence in your own journey. Solitude, then, isn't just about being alone. It's about the journey of becoming. It's about stepping into your full potential by facing the parts of you that you've avoided. The fear, the doubt, the insecurities, they are not enemies to be defeated, but teachers to be understood. They guide you toward growth. And when you emerge from the crucible of solitude, you are not just stronger, you are free. Free from the need for approval, free from the weight of unacknowledged fears, and free to live life on your own terms. This freedom, this self-sufficiency, is a form of power that can never be taken away. It's the power of embracing yourself completely and authentically, and it's something that solitude will give you if you are brave enough to face it. So, what happens when you stop fearing solitude? When you start using it as a tool rather than running from it, you begin to unlock your true potential. You stop reacting to the world around you. You stop being a slave to external circumstances. Instead, you start acting from a place of deep inner strength, not because of what others want from you, but because of what you want from yourself. This shift is powerful. It changes the way you approach every aspect of life. No longer are you seeking to fit in, to belong, or to please others. You begin to focus on what truly matters to you, and that focus propels you toward growth and self-discovery. You no longer need permission to be who you are. In fact, you stop asking for validation altogether. You begin to live authentically, creating your own path rather than following the crowd. The crowd can only consume. It reacts, it repeats, it borrows ideas. It operates in a cycle of imitation, of following trends and seeking approval from others. But the individual who embraces solitude, who embraces the quiet moments, creates. They think independently. They forge their own path, untethered by the expectations of the world. When you find yourself alone, truly alone, you are free to explore your own ideas without the noise of others telling you what is or isn't possible. In those moments of silence, you can hear your own thoughts clearly. You can begin to create and innovate, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you've tapped into your own well of creativity. And neither do you. You don't need the approval of others to create something meaningful in your own life. We've all been conditioned to believe that we need a crowd to validate our ideas, our actions, and our worth. But the reality is that when we step away from the noise, we can hear ourselves more clearly. We can focus on what truly matters to us and begin to build a life that aligns with our values, not someone else's. In solitude, we find the clarity to make decisions based on our own instincts, not based on what others think or expect from us. This independence becomes a source of strength. It's not about rejecting the world or isolating yourself from others. It's about standing firm in who you are and creating your own path. The beauty of solitude is that it strips away the need for external validation. In the quiet, you find your true voice. You stop chasing after approval, and instead, you begin to trust yourself more deeply. The fear of making mistakes fades because you know that each step you take is a step toward becoming who you are meant to be. This self-reliance is empowering. It allows you to move forward with confidence, knowing that you have the strength to navigate life's challenges without needing others to tell you what's right or wrong. You no longer look to the crowd for direction. You look within. As Epictetus wisely said, man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. When we remove the distractions of the crowd, we begin to see the world clearly, and the imagined anxieties that once held us back lose their grip on us. This isn't to say that solitude should be a permanent state. It's about finding balance. The goal isn't to retreat from society completely, but to understand the power that solitude offers in shaping who we are and what we bring to the world. It's in these moments of quiet reflection that we find the strength to connect with others on a deeper, more meaningful level. True connection doesn't come from constantly seeking approval. It comes from being able to stand alone with confidence and clarity. The most genuine relationships are formed when both people are secure in themselves, not when they rely on each other for validation. When you stop seeking approval, you begin to move in the world with a new kind of freedom. You're no longer bound by the expectations of others, and that freedom allows you to explore your own potential. It's like unlocking a door to your own power, a power that is no longer reliant on outside forces. When you stop reacting to the world around you, you start acting with intention. You begin to make decisions based on your own understanding of who you are and what you value. This is the kind of power that leads to lasting change, not just in your life, but in the lives of those around you. And this shift happens when you learn to embrace solitude. It's not just about being alone physically. It's about learning to be alone with your thoughts and your feelings, without the constant interference of the outside world. In solitude, you can strip away the noise and focus on what matters most to you. It's in these moments that you can truly discover your own purpose and direction, and that clarity becomes a source of inner strength. When you trust yourself and stop looking to others for validation, you begin to tap into a power that is uniquely your own. Ultimately, solitude is the foundation of personal growth. It's in the quiet that we uncover our true potential. It's in the silence that we stop being reactive and start becoming proactive, making decisions that align with who we truly are. And when we stop seeking validation from others, we begin to live authentically. We no longer need the crowd to tell us who we are or what we should do. Instead, we move forward with confidence, knowing that we are creating a life that reflects our deepest values and desires. This is the power of solitude, a power that belongs to you, and one that can't be taken away by anyone or anything. Of course, there are those who would argue that we are meant to connect, that we're meant to be part of the group, to belong, to have people around us to give us meaning and purpose. It's what we've been taught since we were young. Humans are social creatures after all, right? But here's the paradox. True connection with others doesn't come from desperation or need. It doesn't come from trying to fit into a mold, to seek validation, or to cling to someone else for your sense of worth. True connection is built from a place of strength and self-sufficiency. When you are whole within yourself, when you've mastered solitude and learned to stand alone without fear or insecurity, your relationships with others begin to transform. When you stop needing others to define you, your relationships shift. They no longer come from a place of need. You no longer tolerate disrespect, nor do you settle for relationships that drain you. You stop bending to please others, stop compromising your values for the sake of fitting in or maintaining approval. Instead, your relationships are rooted in mutual respect. You attract people who align with your values, who respect you not because you seek their validation, but because your presence commands respect. You've learned to value yourself, and as a result, others begin to value you too. It's not about controlling others. It's about commanding your space, your energy, and your attention unapologetically. Think about it. When you stand tall in your own truth, when you are comfortable in your solitude, you become magnetic. People are drawn to that. They want to be around someone who doesn't need them, but who chooses to be with them. When you stop looking for approval, you become a beacon for the right people, the ones who see you for who you truly are, not the version of you that you've created to fit into a box. This is not to say that you shut others out. Rather, you stop allowing people to enter your life unless they truly align with your values, your energy, and your goals. It's not about being alone for the sake of it. It's about understanding that your worth doesn't come from others. This is where the power of solitude becomes clear. When you embrace your own company, when you learn to enjoy your own presence, you stop feeling lonely in the traditional sense. Your loneliness doesn't become something to fear or avoid. It becomes something that fortifies you. It turns into your strength. When you stop relying on others to define your sense of worth, you realize that you have everything you need within you. This isn't about self-isolation or pushing others away. It's about reaching a point where you are no longer dependent on external sources for happiness or validation. You are the source of your own strength, your own joy, your own peace. And when you come from that place, your interactions with others will be rooted in something real and lasting. When you learn to stand strong in your own truth, you begin to engage with the world differently. You no longer seek approval or fear rejection. You stop looking for outside validation to feel good about yourself. Instead, you take action and make decisions based on your inner strength, your values, and your beliefs. This confidence, this self-assuredness, naturally attracts others who resonate with your energy. It's not about forcing connections or pretending to be something you're not. It's about allowing your true self to shine and letting others come to you, not because they are seeking something from you, but because they appreciate you for who you are. Think about the great individuals in history who embodied this idea. Think about the writers, the artists, the innovators who weren't afraid to walk alone. They didn't need a crowd to validate their work. In fact, some of their greatest contributions were made when they were in solitude, free from the distractions and pressures of the world. They created not out of necessity, but because they had tapped into their own inner resources, their own creative flow. They were able to create because they were no longer seeking approval from others. They were creating for themselves, for the pure joy of self-expression. This is the power of solitude. It turns your loneliness into a source of creative energy. When you stop fearing being alone, you give yourself the freedom to explore, to create, and to grow without limits. You stop performing for others, and instead, you start living for yourself. And it's through this process of self-discovery and self-expression that you become truly magnetic. People are naturally drawn to someone who is comfortable in their own skin, someone who doesn't need to prove their worth, someone who is living in alignment with their values and their truth. The key is to stop viewing solitude as a curse. It's not something to be avoided or feared. When you embrace it, you begin to see it for what it truly is, a powerful tool for self-growth and transformation. Solitude isn't about being isolated. It's about being free from the noise and pressure of the outside world so you can hear your own voice. And when you listen to that voice, you unlock a strength that is yours and yours alone. You stop waiting for others to validate your worth, and you start creating a life that is a reflection of your true self. So, the next time you find yourself alone, don't shy away from it. Don't let the fear of loneliness dictate your actions. Instead, embrace it. Use that time to reconnect with yourself, to cultivate your own thoughts, your own desires, and your own vision for the future. The more you do this, the more you will find that your loneliness isn't something to escape. It's something that empowers you. And from that strength, you'll find that you no longer need to search for meaningful connections. They will find you naturally, because you will have become a magnet for authenticity, self-respect, and genuine connection. This is not a call for isolation's sake. It's about using solitude strategically. Just as a warrior retreats to gain perspective, you too can use solitude to refocus and recharge. It's not about shutting yourself off from the world, but about stepping back to clear your mind, to regain your strength, and to gather your thoughts. Think of it as taking a moment to step out of the noise, to reset, and to prepare for what's ahead. When you give yourself this time, you give yourself the space to grow, to evaluate, and to understand more deeply who you are and what you want. It's not a retreat out of fear. It's a retreat for strength. But remember, the key to this strategy is balance. Solitude is not meant to be permanent. It's not about cutting yourself off from the world indefinitely or becoming disconnected from others. Instead, it's a tool for personal growth. It's a way to clear the clutter from your mind, to shed the distractions, and to get a clearer picture of what really matters. Think about it this way. When you clear away the noise, you can finally hear your own voice. You can think deeply without being influenced by the chatter of society or the opinions of others. And when you've had that time to reflect and recharge, you emerge stronger, with a clearer sense of purpose and direction. This idea isn't about withdrawing forever or becoming a hermit. It's about knowing when to step away and when to step back in. It's about understanding that you don't need to be constantly engaged with the world around you to be connected to it. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is step back and give yourself the time to reflect. When you're constantly plugged in, constantly seeking approval and validation from others, you lose sight of your own voice. You begin to live for others instead of for yourself. Solitude gives you the space to reconnect with what's inside. It's in that quiet time alone that you can find your strength, your clarity, and your direction. The world may continue to push you to conform, to belong, to seek approval. We're all bombarded with messages telling us that we need to fit in, to be part of the group, to have others validate our worth. But the truth is, the most powerful individuals are the ones who can stand alone, not because they are broken, but because they are whole. They don't need the approval of others to define their value. They've already found it within themselves. This is the power of solitude. It allows you to get in touch with your true self, to find strength in being who you are, without needing others to tell you who you should be. This isn't about being alone all the time or pushing people away. It's about having the wisdom to know when solitude is the right choice for your growth. It's about recognizing that you can be both independent and connected, that you can stand strong in your own truth, while also engaging with the world in a meaningful way. Solitude isn't about shutting yourself off from others. It's about knowing when to retreat and when to engage. The more you understand and embrace this, the more you will see how powerful it can be in your life. So, as you begin to use solitude as a tool for growth, remember this. It's not about isolation. It's not about avoiding others or hiding from the world. It's about taking the time to reflect, to recharge, and to reconnect with yourself. It's about using that time alone to grow, to find your clarity, and to build the strength to face the world as your authentic self. When you embrace solitude with this mindset, you begin to see that it is not something to fear or avoid. It is a source of power, a place where you can find the strength to move forward with purpose and confidence. And once you truly understand the power of being alone, you will never again see loneliness as a weakness or something to escape. You will begin to see it as a tool for growth, a gift that allows you to strengthen yourself and deepen your understanding of who you are. With that, you will discover that the most powerful relationships you have are the ones that come from a place of self-sufficiency, not neediness. When you are whole within yourself, you attract others who resonate with that wholeness. You no longer settle for relationships that drain you. You form connections that lift you up based on mutual respect and shared values. So, the next time you find yourself alone, don't fear it. Embrace it. Use it as an opportunity to step back, to refocus, and to build the strength you need to move forward in your life with confidence. Because when you master solitude, you master yourself, and that is the most powerful thing you can do. Embrace your solitude, for in the quiet, you find the strength to shape your own destiny. The power to create, to transform, and to rise above the noise of the world lies within you. Don't fear being alone. Use it as the forge to refine who you truly are.